All right, Barakateh Hawa, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachak Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Apocrypha Removed. And pretty much this is in response to a video Elder Apostle did where he mentioned it, and he mentioned some information that Spirit had showed me years ago that I actually went into. And I have a blog, actual blog where they put a whole bunch of stuff in there. I was gonna go live on the computer, but I wasn't able. I decided to come out here instead. And if I remember afterwards, what I'll do is I'll see if I can post it in the description box and in the comment section. So if brothers that want to get to it and few sisters that want to get to it, they can get to it. They give you references, so it's gonna give you a few points, sources that show that the Apocrypha was removed. So you're gonna have to go back and and search out these sources, if you wanna get more detail in it. Now, years ago I did a lesson, I believe I call it probably the same thing, the Apocrypha Removed. And pretty much I had read into some information about a rabbi named Rabbi Antelman, Martin Antelman, and he wrote a couple of books, but the one book that I had, came across was one called To Eliminate the Opiate, Volume 1. You can find that book, if you want. You don't really have to, you just need the sources, the information, but if you want to go deeper into it, you might be able to get the book online. You used to be able to get it online, a PDF file and all that. And pretty much in that book, he detailed how there was a group, I believe he called them crypto Sabbateans, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, it's been a while since I've actually read the account. And he mentioned a guy by the name of Apocrypha, which was set up and established to, destroy the validity of the Bible. And that's what these devils have been doing all along. Now, this group, the Biblical Destruction Group, or BDG, Biblical Destruction Group, it began at the same time that the Bavarian faction of the Illuminati began back in 1776, May 1st, actually. And their whole goal was to recruit people to their organization in order to find those that would be willing, and down with the same program to destroy the validity of the Bible, because they know the Bible is true and they can't just do away with it, so they have to find ways to try to, shut it down or distort it, to make people question it and let the people decide to either cast it out or not. And that's why you see some ripping it up, shooting it up, so on and so forth. But that's going to be to their detriment later anyway. Let me read this quick precept and then we can move along. Job 13:4 says, "But ye are forgers of lies." This is applied to Esau today, because they are the main forgers of lies. They're in authority, they're in power, and ever since they got in power, what happened? Wickedness increased upon the earth. Now they claim to be these benevolent, Bible-believing, God-fearing people, but when you check their actions, the actions don't, show that. Their actions show different. So it says, "But ye are forgers of lies, you are all physicians of no value." So they're forgers of lies. Now this was Job cursing out one of his friends, but this is applied to them, to Esau today, because they are the wicked. And these, things that we read about in the book of Job concerning the wicked apply to wicked people. And we know that the Edomites are the wicked. They are identified in the Bible as the wicked. And they are identified in the Bible as being the ones that would have control of the earth in these last days. We read Job 9:24, and it says, Salakia, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So the entire planet Earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. And ever since they've been ruling, they pretty much have, you know, brought the world to the brink of destruction, brought the world to a degenerate state, you know, destroyed the minds of the people, destroyed family values, destroyed, you know, the link, so to speak, between the Heavenly Father and Jake, the real Israelites, you know, by pushing Renaissance Christianity and this agenda of theirs, you know, teaching the Israelites to be totally ungodless or ungodly, which when we read Proverbs, let me get this real quick and then we'll come back. This is the book of Proverbs 22, I believe it is. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. Let me try 12. Let's try to see if we can get this combination. Beautiful. 12:26. Proverbs 12:26. The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor. Why? Because we are the Israelites. But the way of the wicked seduceth them. So Jacob is seduced by Esau and by their ways, because they're intrigued by that wickedness, and they roll in that direction and end up being what? Destroyed, because that is not a part of their spirit. You know, they are not, you know, built like that. You know, Jake is built to be the righteous, you know, to be connected to the Most High. This is why, even though Jake is bugged out as they are, they have an affinity and they have a connection to the Most High, you know, and they constantly give the lip service, even though the actions are different. But one thing is that they are spiritual to the extent of they seek the Most High, they speak about the Most High, they speak about His Son, but just not in the proper way, you know, not according to righteousness. Another one is Psalms 1:25-3. For the rod of the wicked, which is what? The correction of the wicked, shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous. Why? Because it's, well, read on. It says, lest the righteous put forth their hands unto iniquity. Because the scriptures say that if it were possible, they would deceive even the very elect. You see? Why? Because they are more subtle than any beast of the field. Through their technology, through their deception, through their wiles, through the way that they operate, they can be very convincing at times if the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai does not give the individual the ability to maneuver around them. You know, this is something that was given to them. Remember, the scriptures say that when the beast came back into power, it said what? That the world wondered after the beast. And you have to remember that we, before the Lord woke us up, we were caught up in that web also. You know, so Barakatah Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai for snatching us out of that mindset. You know, so these people are caught up in the devil's lasso. You know, they caught up in that satanic web, you know, of iniquity. The satanic web of iniquity. That's a title right there for somebody. All right, so the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth his hand unto iniquity. You know, and it's not possible for the elect to be deceived. You know, nevertheless, they are very persuasive, because Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. They have the power over the earth. It says he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. So if he covered the faces of the judges by putting his face up there, it's not truth he's not going to cover, you know. He's going to cover, if he's going to cover, you know, through something called iconoclasm or iconoclast, which is the defacing of the images, and put his face up. You know, it's not, it even tells us that in the book of Maccabees, it's not the truth that he's not going to hide. And the reason why the Apocrypha is so what's the word I'm looking for? So threatening to Esau is because it goes into history in there that, you know, is not really fully spoken of in the scriptures, like the history of the Greeks, and when the Greeks came into power through Alexander the Greek, and how wickedness increased after they started to multiply, and taking control over the different regions of the earth. The history of the Hellenization of the Greeks, which gives us the true understanding of when the scriptures say there's no difference between Jew or Greek. Now we understand that clearly. And the reason why there's no difference between the Jew and the Greek is just simply because they're both Israelites. Just one was, speaking the Hebrew, the other one was speaking the Greek. But on a family scale, they're both the same. And just one had to be brought back. But even the Pharisees, Sadducees, and them, they still had to be brought back because they weren't following the right way, because they were following what? Traditions of men. And we see that very clearly today. Traditions of men seem to outdo the scriptures of the Most High. But that's another lesson for another time. So let's deal with this. Matter of fact, let me hold on to these couple of precepts I have that came to mind earlier. But let me just paint the picture for you. When you go into the history, right, on the information that I ran across in 1776, when the Bavarian faction of the Illuminati was established, you had also, I believe they were called Crypto-Sabbateans, if I'm not mistaken, and they set up something known as the Biblical Destruction Group. And what the Biblical Destruction Group was to do was to somehow get the Apocrypha removed out of the Bible by casting doubt on the scriptures. And this is why you hear the argument, well, it's not canon. Yeah, but how do you know it's not canon? Well, it's not canon because what? Because so-and-so said it, or this guy said it? There's a lot of historical facts in there. So when they were on the mission to do it, started in 1776. After a while, they get found out, and what happened was they disbanded 50 years later. 1776 plus 50 equals 1826. 1826 is when they successfully removed the Apocrypha out of the Bible. You can go do your research, look it up. They removed the Bible, the Apocrypha out of the Bible in 1826. Now, what I did was I just typed in regular on the Google, and I typed in who removed the Apocrypha out of the Bible, right? Oh shit. Right? And this is what came up. You type in Apocrypha who removed the Apocrypha out of the Bible. The first thing that popped up is the Puritans used the standard of sola scriptura, scripture alone, to determine which books would be included in the canon. The Westminster Confession of Faith, composed during the British Civil Wars, 1642 through 1651, excluded the Apocrypha from the canon. So there were different time periods where the Apocrypha was removed from certain circles, but it was still in rotation because it was still in the King James Version. And it wasn't until 1826 when they actually removed it through the Biblical Destruction Group, which Ike Beschutz, whose student was Carl Anton, that was his top student. Carl Anton, got other people from that same university. I don't remember the name of the university. And they helped in forwarding the destruction of the removal of the Apocrypha out of the Bible, which they finally did it in 1826. Now, what they did was when they got found out, they just went underground, and just changed their name. And that's what Esau does. It's just like when you have a business and your business is not doing so well and you declare bankruptcy, some businesses go under, but then they come back just under a different name. Because at the end of the day, the same people could keep opening up more businesses because the name of the person is not what's at stake. It's the name of the business, the corporation, the straw man. You see? So they just went underground and came back as other, and sometimes when they go underground, they just break up into different groups. And the thing is, it's some individuals get upset because they're like, well, that's kind of a little dark. Well, they dealing with secret councils. You're dealing with secret councils of these devils, like I'm sorry, about to say the apostle, like King David mentioned in Psalm 64. Gonna just read the first and second verse real quick. And 1, it says, Hear my voice, O Most High, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, right? Because they're doing this underground. Psalms the 10th chapter also tells you about it, how they're doing this underground, so that the poor, which are the Israelites, can fall by his strong ones. So when it fell, right, like I got another, like I said, Lord's will, I can put this one in the description box if I remember later. This is an actual blog, right? It's called A Poor Wise Man Saved the Lives of Those in the City, which goes back to a scripture in Ecclesiastes, how there was a situation going on, and then a poor man, which was not esteemed as anything, gave counsel, and through his counsel, they actually listened to him and they were saved. But afterwards, after they were saved, they didn't even remember the poor wise man that helped them, get out of that situation. And this is how it is. Apostle Gabar says it all the time. This is a thankless job. Here it is. The Spirit gives us different things. And I had this thought years ago. So like I'm ranting a little bit right now. I had this thought years ago, where when the Lord would reveal certain things to me out of the scriptures, information. And the very first thing I want to do is do a video. Yeah, share it with the brothers. But then the very next thought is like, but these mother effers that ain't worthy to get it, they're gonna get it, and they're gonna act like they came up with it, and they're gonna try to shit on it, But nevertheless, the word still gotta go out, And this is where understanding comes into play. Being seasoned comes into play. That everything has to be fulfilled. You have to have, the sincere, and you have to have the non-sincere. All right. So this blog starts off. It says, if you own a King James Bible, and I'm pretty sure brothers have gone through this, the first and biggest change you will notice is that the original 1611 edition contains several extra books in the appendix between the Old and New Testament, labeled the books of the Apocrypha. Now, the word Apocrypha itself, apo, means sent, and krypha goes into the word cryptic or hidden, to send away hidden. That's why they were called the Apocrypha, because they were sent away hidden. It says the appendix includes several books which are found in the Catholic Old Testament, such as the books of Wisdoms, Sirach, Baruch, 1st and 2nd Maccabees, and others. Some may be tempted to dismiss the omission of these books from the King James Bible, as its omission really does not change anything important about the King James Bible. On the contrary, the so-called Apocrypha formed an integral part of the text, so much so that the Protestant scholar E.G. Godspeed once wrote, whatever may be our personal opinions of the Apocrypha, it is a historical fact that they formed an integral part of the King James Version, and any Bible claiming to represent that version should either include the Apocrypha or state that it is omitting them, otherwise a false impression is created. All right, and it gives you, sources. It says, if you pick up a modern copy of the King James Version and open to the title page, chances are you'll not see any mention of the deliberate omission of these books. An example given, the King James Version without the Apocrypha. After all, who would want to put a negative statement about a product on their title page? However, perhaps to avoid false advertising, publishers do notify you that books are missing by cleverly stating the contents in a positive fashion, like the King James Version containing the Old and New Testament. If you didn't know that the Apocrypha was omitted, you'd probably assume that you are reading a complete King James Bible, since most modern Protestant Bibles contain only the Old and New Testament anyway. Hence, a Godspeed warns a false impression is created. All King James Bibles published before 1666. I'm gonna let you marinate on that for a hot minute. So and then in that book, To Eliminate the Opiate, the guy's name was something Sevi. You know, I can't remember all of the details, but that was in 1666. It was something that he did, but I can't remember all of the details right now. But that was a key year. So it said that all King James Bibles published before 1666 included the Apocrypha. Okay? But then they started being removed. But it says in 1826, the British and because we just read, right? We just read in Google, right? Where it said, when I typed in who removed the Apocrypha out of the Bible, it says the Puritans used the standard of sola scriptura, which means scripture alone, to determine which books would be included in the canon. The Westminster Confession of Faith, composed during the British Civil Wars, 1642 to 1651, excluded the Apocrypha from the canon. So eventually they got rid of it. You know, so you could understand. So you follow along. It says back to the blog, in 1826, the British and Foreign Bible Society decided that no BFBS funds were to pay for printing any apocryphal books anymore. All right. So now it notices that the Foreign Bible Society, British and Foreign Bible Society, which is BFBS. Yeah, it's BS. All right. You know. But prior to that, they were what? They were the Biblical Destruction Group, right? It says, since then, most modern editions of the Bible and reprintings of the King James Bible omit the Apocrypha section. In the 18th century, the Apocrypha section was omitted from the Chalonnier revision of Douay-Rheims version in 1979. In the 1979 revision of the Vulgate, the section was dropped. Modern reprinting of the Clementine Vulgate commonly omit the Apocrypha section. Many reprintings of older versions of the Bible now omit the Apocrypha, and many newer translations and revisions have never included them at all. It says the class. Now, after that, I'm not sure if it was that same lesson, or if it was another one after, you know, like another addition to that lesson. I found out you have the Spanish Bible, which was printed, it was set up in, I think it was 1562. My memory is a little hazy because, like I said, it's been a while. It was 1562. It was set up by Casiodoro de Valera, which were Reina de Valera, which is the king at the time that gave the order to translate the Bible into Spanish, I believe it was. And then the other one, the Casiodoro, right? I believe it was Casiodoro. He actually revised it. So that's why it's called Casiodoro de Valera. No, it's called Reina Valera, because it was attributed to those two men. So back when it was first created, you know, they had the Apocrypha in it because they're saying that the Spanish Bible pretty much is the twin of the King James English Bible. But then you had an individual by the name of Dr. Lorenzo Lucena, and in 1862 he managed to remove the Apocrypha out of the Bible. You know, so it was a slow, you know, steady, you know, onslaught on the Apocrypha, and eventually they got it removed. But it still survived to this day, you know. So these are the origins of the removal of the Apocrypha out of the Bible. All right. Now let me hit a couple of precepts before I read some more of that. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 15. It says, "Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord." Right, and that's what they've done. They thought that by hiding this information, that they can, you know, that we would not find out about, you know, the truth. Because if you remove the Apocrypha, there's a lot of historical events in there and end time prophecies, you know, that tie even further the things that are written in the Bible, you know, in the Old and New Testament, which the Apocrypha would be considered Old Testament, you know, but it was placed between the Old Testament and the New Testament, right? It says to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark. And this is why, you know, the history, you know, and the information, you know, you ain't gonna find every little detail, you know, because it is just that, clandestine. It's hidden, but there are traces of it. There is information out there that brings it out. It says, and they say, who seeth us and who knoweth us, right? Because their thing is, if human eyes aren't on them and seeing them doing these things, that they've gotten away with it. This is why the Lord said, you thought that I was altogether such a one as yourself, but you thought wrong, Esau. Verse 16, surely your turning of things, Salakia, surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as a potter's clay. So in other words, what you turned upside down, the Lord is going to turn right side up. Because that's what you do. You create a bizarro world in the world. You know? And the society that we live in today is an upside down society. Created by the upside down man, Esau, the Edomites. Let's go to Psalms 82 real quick and verse 5. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. So everything is out of course. But Barakatah Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, that left the remnant to be able to turn things right side up, because he said, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. And this is why these devils are mad, and this is why fear is upon them, because they see that the Lord set up his prophets to actually, you know, reveal what these devils have been up to, reveal their secrets and their mysteries, reveal all of the hidden things that they've done to a certain degree, because there's many other things that they've hidden that the Lord only knows about. But we have enough to convict and condemn this devil, you know, being that we're in the sentencing stage of this of this whole thing. And then when the Lord comes back, he's going to be the one that brings forth the final judgment. And then that's when the fun begins. All right. So let's go back to Isaiah 29:16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as a potter's clay. Because once a potter creates pottery, no matter what it is, it starts off as clay. It starts off as nothing. But when he finishes with it, once the work is done, then it is known what was created. So since he turned everything upside down, now we're seeing the creation of this upside down world that he created. And the Lord has given us the ability, you know, to the Lord has given us the ability to turn everything right side up, which shows the true power of the KJV and the Apocrypha. I'm not sure if I understand your comment. All right, so I'm not sure what, you know, what that's all about. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as a potter's clay, because eventually it's going to be known what was created. And right now the Lord has given us the ability to see what this devil has done and to bring out certain information that needs to be brought out in order to convict this devil. Because the Lord said, then shall the wicked be revealed by the spirit of the Lord's mouth, which are what? The prophets, by the words of the Most High, and by the revealing or the pulling back the veil, you know, pulling that curtain back and showing the world Esau's nakedness and the things that he's done. It says, for shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Right. You can't say, well, the Lord didn't create me. You can't say, because the scriptures say in in Romans, right? The 9th chapter. It says, who has resisted his will? You know, because the Lord, the Apostle Paul was breaking it down. He said, eventually, you know, people are really going to ask, so if he did this thing, if he made Esau the wicked, he made Jacob the righteous, he made Esau to go off and, you know, do all this wicked shit, why does he yet find fault? Well, the bottom line is, who has resisted his will? And the answer to that is nobody. The Lord has look, this is his program. This is what he wants. This is what he got out there. This is his production. You know? And we're just pawns in the game. All right? Pawns in the game of prophecy. It was for one of you brothers out there. It says, he made me not, or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? Yeah, because the Lord created Esau to be the wicked. You know, or the Lord don't know what he's doing. Let's go real quick to Job chapter 12. Look, the Most High, every work of the Most High is in righteousness. Proverbs 12:16. I'm sorry, Job 12:16. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. So both sides, because the Most High creates evil and he creates the good. And evil has its purpose. Just like good has its purpose. All right? And the evil purpose of E is to show the world what it is to be wicked, so that when the Lord judges this devil, we can see, oh, this is the payback, you know, for being wicked. This is what happens to devils who loud talk the Most High. You know? That's why it says, only with thine eyes shalt thou behold the reward of the wicked. See all this shit that this devil's done? You see the judgment on him? Well, now you understand not to do that. You know? I was just watching this video. I sent it to Elder Pastor Har on one of his videos, where they were going into the 10 different, you know, facts and horrible facts of slavery and the, you know, and those sex farms. And man, these devils, and all kind of information keeps coming out on this devil. Now, we knew that he had breeding farms, but they're going to the top 10 worst things about it. You know? There was a lot of wickedness going on, man. You know? These devils that claim to believe in the Bible, they were making these women commit adultery. They were committing adultery themselves. You know, a lot of wickedness was going on. They were popping a lot of those slave women, having children with them and selling them off. You know? So, man, there's a lot of fucking wickedness that has gone, that's been swept under the rug. Inside joke. You know, but the Lord is making it all come to light. And bottom line, everything ain't going to come out until the Lord comes back. We see through a glass darkly. But it says here in Isaiah 26:21, it says, for behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth. Esau being the top devil to be judged. For their iniquity, the earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain. So everything that this devil has done will be known to the furthest extent. You know, let me just shift over a little bit, because, you know, it's getting kind of hot in here. All right? Everything that this devil has done is going to be revealed in due time. But we're only going to get so much, because eventually, you know, the Lord is going to reveal more and more. And when the kingdom is established, then we're going to see the whole picture. You gotta know that when Esau gets his ass whipping, his ass kicking, it's gonna be well deserved, and it's gonna be known. And even he's gonna probably be like, yeah, you know what, I deserve it. You know? I mean, it's unimaginable the shit that these devils have done on the earth. We only have a glimpse into all of the shit that they've done. Just imagine when the Lord opens up the floodgates of truth, you know, and revealing everything that these devils have done once the kingdom is established. Because as it is right now, we're finding out a whole lot of things. So just imagine when the kingdom is established and everything. The scriptures say that it shall no more be disclosed. It's not going to be closed off anymore. It's going to be opened up fully. You know, that's going to be the most justified ass whooping in history. What you devils, you Edomites are going to get. It's going to be the most justified ass whipping in history. You know? And you even might say, you know, yeah, I deserve this shit. Man. So, you know, that's just like some history on the Apocrypha. I mean, I'm sure you can find other sources of different things, but the Biblical Destruction Group, created in 1776, disbanded 50 years later, 1826. That's when they took the Apocrypha out. You go back prior, you had information on the Puritans taking it out. The Protestants didn't include it in certain of their Bibles at a certain point. You know, they just dealt with the Old and New Testament, excluding the Apocrypha. You know, but the Lord still made the Apocrypha survive today. You know, so what you need to do, you know, if you want to get more into it, is don't just take our word for it. Go and look it up. So that way when you're speaking about it, you're sure of what you're saying. You're not just repeating something that somebody else said. You know, you've actually done the research. You've actually seen it for yourself. You know, look it up, you know, and do the research yourself. Like I said, Lord's will, I remember to post this link in the description box and on the comment section. That way you can go there and look it up for yourself. Other brothers, I'm sure they made videos on this because it's readily accessible on the internet. You know, but when the Spirit had me going through it, I actually had to go through reading the book. You know, that To Eliminate the Opiate by Rabbi Martin Antelman. I had to actually go read through the book, and then the Spirit led me to find the information that I needed. I still remember Ike Bashut's name, which was one of the main characters. His main pupil, Carl Anton, you know. And then, you know, the Biblical Destruction Group, and the year when they actually were disbanded and took the Bible, the Apocrypha out of the Bible, which is 1826. You know, then to further that, the Lord gave me some more, you know, spaghetti for my plate, you know, to share with you brothers, dealing with Dr. Lorenzo Lucena, who actually revised the Bible in 1862 and took the Apocrypha out of the Spanish Bible in 1862. You know, so these devils got a lot to pay for. Not just the wickedness that they've done, the slavery and the killing and the raping and the murdering and all that, but also the hiding and the removing, the destroying of images, the destroying of information. You know, a lot. They got a lot to pay for. That's what it says. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as a potter's clay. Because once you make something, it's going to come out. And that's why the Lord said, matter of fact, let me leave you with this precept here. Let's go to the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. And let me just take this out of here real quick. Habakkuk 2 and 16. It says, thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. Yeah, because you're going to be revealed. The skirts are being pulled up on you, E. It says, the cup of the Lord's right hand, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Yeah, because you have this, you had this, not anymore. You had this, you know, title and this so-called presence about you, that you were these holy people, that you were the people of the Lord. But now we're coming to find out the truth, that you're nothing more than you're nothing more than the devil that the Bible speaks of. You know, and you have a nerve to get mad when we call you the devil. But your actions speak for themselves. Just look at your history. Look at your history. You got a nerve to be mad. Look at your history. Look at the shit that you've done. Look at the wicked deeds that you created. Look at the sorrows and the miseries that you brought upon the earth, even to this very day. And then you have a nerve to get mad when we call you the devil. You know you're the devil. This is why there's times where, you know, some individuals know, you know, sometimes they call themselves by the house of David. Sometimes they call themselves Edomites because they know they're the Edomites. They know that they're the wicked. But they have to keep trying to hide it. They can't let it come all out, but it's coming out. You're being, you know, revealed on all levels. The devil is being revealed on all levels. You know, so with that, I mean, I still kind of feel the spirit, but I don't really have any other precepts to go into, you know. And, you know, Lord's will, you know, if the spirit is still on me and, you know, the Lord give me another lesson to go into, I would love to, you know, do another lesson if it be the Yahweh Bashem El Shai Bashem Rakakudash's will. So with that, you know, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.